Hi, welcome back to Alicia K Lifestyle. My name is Alicia and I'm glad you're here. Let's make something pretty. I know why you're here. You want to talk about the February monthly sewing project, and we're going to get to that. But first, I'm going to tell you what I have on today. So I crocheted this top. It was inspired by NXC Style on Instagram. I'll put her post over here. When I saw this, I said, oh my goodness, yes, I'm doing that. And it just looks so good on her. But I, of course, wanted to wear something under it. So after I made this in purple, how cute. You see the little flowers, y'all? It's so cute. So after I made this top, I knew I wanted a colorful, lightweight top to go underneath. So I made a special trip to Joann specifically for this. And after about 3 fabrics, and I chose something that I didn't really want, I was on my way to get it cut at the cutting table. And it was like a whole section just for mesh knits. And I said, oh my goodness, I was looking for you. And you were right here the whole time. So I found this, you guys. It's so beautiful. And it looks like the base is black, but it's not. It's actually like a plum. I love it. It was meant for me. It was meant for me. I wanted to make a bodysuit, but I didn't feel like it by the time I was done making it. So yeah, this is her. And I just have on some jeans with it too. Okay, now back to the February monthly sewing project. Now, before we talk about what February is, let me tell you what February was supposed to be. February was supposed to be a mini dress. It was, but then I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't change my mind at the last minute. And what was the last minute this time? I was actually at the store, Joann, of course. And what I wanted to do with this mini dress, you know, a mini dress is, or any dress, front, back sleeves, back, front sleeves, left, right, left sleeve, right sleeve, you know. It's not difficult. So I was looking for a new pattern at the store so I could, you know, switch it up a bit, maybe learn something new. I didn't want to do front, back sleeve darts, you know, like I really wanted to do something new. So that's why I was flipping through the pages. And y'all, I saw this jumpsuit by Mimi G with Simplicity. And I changed my mind immediately. Now, it was always going to be red because I was really into Valentine's Day this year. I was really into it. I even had an event to go to that weekend, and I made another dress to go to that event that went with the theme of Valentine's Day. I knew in January that I wanted February, the mini dress, to be red. But once I saw that jumpsuit, I said yes. And there's another reason why I chose that as well. As a designer, sometimes I am designed out. I don't have the energy to create another design. Sometimes it's just nice to go to the store, pick up some fabric, some notions and a pattern, and follow along what someone else has already done. They've already done the hard work. They've done the math. They've done the measuring. They've done all of that. All I have to do is follow the instructions. I don't have to design it because they did. It was like a mental lifting of a load, I guess, if you will. It just felt good. I felt like I needed a mental designing break. And that's what this was. Now, it was a fly mental designing break. It was, but it felt good to let somebody else do it, and I just do what they do. Now, the great thing about this pattern is it comes with an online tutorial. So Mimi G was showing you how to do it. So I literally just did everything she did. I followed her the whole time. It was peaceful. I was not stressed out with measurements or math. It was peaceful. And there have been times recently where I followed a pattern, but I followed it maybe to step 10 and then I did my own thing. I never did it all the way through. And when I saw that jumpsuit, I was excited because it was beautiful. But it was like I was there for the first time. Like I forgot that option even existed. You don't have to do everything, Alicia. You don't have to. Let somebody else do it and follow them. And that's what I did. And that's how February came about. Now let's get into the construction of the garment, starting with pattern directions. Very simple, very easy to follow. But simplicity, in my opinion, is always very simple and very easy to follow. Granted, I've been using it for, oh Lord, how many years? Since 2016. So almost 10 years. But it is the easiest for me to follow. And this one did not disappoint at all. Now, there did come a point when I was doing the pleat that's sort of on the torso of the jumpsuit where I needed a little reinforcement because I wasn't confused. I just needed a little help. You know, we all need a little help sometimes. And so that's when the video came in handy. And the angle that Mimi G had the camera at, it was just so easy and simple to follow along. And at that point, I stopped reading the instructions and I just kept with the video the whole time. It was so much easier with the video. I'm a visual learner, and so it was great for me. Moving on to the fit of the garment. Now, I don't remember which size I cut out of this pattern, but I do remember I had to take in about 2 inches once I was almost done with the garment. But patterns are very general. They're very sort of boxy. You have to fit it to your body anyway. With every pattern, you have to do that. So that wasn't a big deal. But I did also have to elongate it because you know your girl is tall. I have a torso. I don't have a torso. I have a torso. So I ended up adding 2 inches in length to my torso so that, you know, it would be long enough and you wouldn't see any camel toe. Yes. Now, there were 2 sleeve patterns. They were both short sleeve. One was regular, and then one sort of had like a little poof at the seam. I don't believe either of those sleeves were a part of God's will for my life. So I had to change it. It couldn't stay the same. I didn't really have a choice. Sleeves are meant to be changed. And so at this moment, I was very proud of myself because usually, let me tell you what I used to do back in the day. If I wanted a simple dress, but I wanted a sleeve, but that pattern didn't come with the sleeve I wanted, I would buy 2 separate patterns. One with the dress or the top or whatever, and one with the sleeve. That's why I have so many patterns now. If I wanted something and one pattern did not have it, I would buy 3 separate patterns. And you know, it was helpful then, but I've grown now. So what I did was I made my own pattern. And I just split the sleeve in half and elongated it. I put some elastic at the wrist and that was it. And I don't know about you, but that long sleeve, it gave the jumpsuit a little extra something, you know? Like it just, I don't know. It just like gave it a little something. And the sleeve was open so you could still see the arm, but then it was closed right here with the elastic, and then it had just a little more fabric. Like it gave it a little, it kind of elevated it a little bit. Do you get what I'm saying? Also, it was cold in Georgia. It's now March, but in February it was cold and it was windy. I needed that long sleeve. Now, I know the other side didn't have a sleeve at all, but that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the other side. We're talking about the left side. We're not talking about the right side. My left side was cold and I needed a long sleeve. Another part that I really enjoyed was doing the pockets. I usually do what I call the sandwich method. I just cut out 4 pockets, front facing together, you know, the seam down, then put those two together, then sew it down like that. And I do that for all of my pants pockets. But it was fun to do something else. It wasn't my first time doing a pocket like that. I think every other jumpsuit I've done of hers had pockets like that, but I've only done them once. So it was just fun to do something different, you know. Kind of like what I said, what I wanted to do with the dress when I wanted February to be a mini dress. I wanted to do something different other than front, back, and sleeves, you know. So I did a different pocket this time, and it was just fun. Sometimes I get tired of the same old. So thank you, Mimi G. So from cutting the fabric to pressing the entire garment from start to finish, maybe 8.5 hours. I did it in one day. And I don't really do, I usually cut one day, cut the pattern, and then cut the fabric, and then I sew on another day. I think I was so happy for a mental reprieve, and it was just so easy. It was, it probably sounds silly saying, oh, I made a garment and it was easy, but y'all know what I'm talking about. It was easy, and I was enjoying myself, and I made it in less than 10 hours. So would I make it again? Yes. Obviously, if I did it again, I would choose a different sleeve, and you know what, I might make it into shorts. If I do it again, I might make it into shorts. Yeah. For the fabric, I used 4.5 yards of red rodeo cotton sportswear. And I picked that up from Joann, and it was the perfect fabric. It keeps shape like a dream. Love it. But it also had a flow, you know, it wasn't too stiff. So it was structured, but not stiff, you know. And the headdress that I wore, it was just a few scraps that I had left over, and I just took it, I wrapped it around the back, tied it in the front, and then just tucked the edges in. You know, it was cute though, but it was just scraps. Now, without further ado, I present to you the February monthly sewing project, Secret Lover. Now let's talk about what I've learned. Number 1, when choosing a pattern size, always compare your body measurements to the finished garment measurements. Now, I told y'all it's been a while since I really followed along with a pattern, because I'm always hacking stuff and designing stuff now the past few years. But when I actually had to study and make sure that I was getting the right size and buying the right pattern, I almost skipped this step. So, you know, you have at the top your measurements and you're measuring everything, but don't forget to go all the way down to the bottom and read those finished garment measurements, because I'm a tall girl. Patterns aren't made for tall girls. They're made for tall girls to manipulate, to make them longer, to fit the tall girls. So I almost skipped that step, but God is good. Number 2, the more you sew, the easier it is to construct a garment without instructions. Now, there was a time in my life where I was sewing a lot, and so I kind of knew what step was coming next, but I was so afraid of messing something up. I couldn't stray away from those instructions. I could not. But this time, you know, I kind of read 1 through 5. Okay, I'll do it. Like 6 through 10. Okay, got that next, like that. And to make sure that I wasn't going to miss anything essential if I just went with what I knew. And I'm trusting my instincts more. And I feel like I know what I'm doing, and it feels good, and it builds confidence. So, yeah. Number 3, red looks really good on me. I mean, it's not my color or anything, but it could be. Do y'all wear red like that? Because I don't. Not fully from head to toe in red, I don't. But, I mean, I will now. And number 4, I need a new sewing machine. Right now, I'm still working on my niece's Singer machine, which is wonderful, because my sewing machine, the one that my grandmother gave to me, that was made in 1976. It's a Singer as well. And she was almost laid to rest last year, but I took her to the hospital and they treated her, and now she's back home with me. I'm talking about my machine, not my grandma. My machine. She's back home with me, my 1976 machine. But you know, I'm not going to use her anymore. So right now I'm still using my 13-year-old niece's machine. Great machine. Great. But I'm at a point now where I want something a little more, you know. I don't want a home sewing machine. I want like I run a business machine. From my house though. Yeah. I completely forgot to record an outro, but I want to say thank you to everyone who watched the video, and I hope that it is helpful to those who plan on making this pattern as well. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you again in March. Okay.